Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to go over the surging Katsu or like traditional Katsu builds as opposed to the kitty Katsu build, kind of give you like comparison and contrast with both, why both are strong, what are weaknesses of both, and kind of just talk about the list as a whole and kind of give you an idea of like which list you should play and why. Before we get into it, I have a new setup, as you can see, with my videos. This is kind of what I'm going to be going with moving forward. Let me know if it works for you, if you can see it all right, if it's big enough, things of that nature. I want to try to make it a little bit more presentable, but also make it like, you know, good for you and a good experience. So let me know what you think. And yeah, we'll get right into it. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe if you like this content. Also join the Discord down below. We have over 300 members in there, whether you're a ninja player, ranger, assassin, doesn't matter what type of player you are. Join the conversation. We have a really good time, really active community, really like relaxed community, which is what I want. And yeah, we'll get right into it. So for the surging Katsu versus the kitty Katsu. So this is my surging list. Basically, this is a list that I had a top 8 on my PQ with last PQ season, minus obviously Double Strike being a new card and Blaze and Yori. But for the most part, this is, and Shuko, this is the list that I ran last PQ season. Then you have the kitty Katsu line. This is the one I did a deck tech on, with the 3 swipes, the 3 Roar of the Tigers, 3 Art of Wars, 3 Predatory Streaks, things of that nature. Just a pure Crouching Tiger list, right? So like, what are the strengths of both? Why would you run both? And kind of go from there. So number one, it all depends on what you want to do. You know, if you enjoy the surging lines and like the traditional Katsu better because you don't like how the Crouching Tiger lines work, that's fine. If you enjoy like the high combo potential of the Crouching Tiger line, that's great too. So at the end of the day, play what you want. The Crouching Tiger list has already seen some success. We had a win this past weekend at PQ season from one of the members in the community. We've had 2 other top 8s. So it's definitely like playing well. It's playing better than people already thought it was, which is hilarious. I keep telling people every tier list I've seen by every major creator has Katsu in like C and D tier, and it's just funny to me. D tier mostly, like below Levia and other crazy. It's just nuts. Anyway, it's already seen success, so it's been doing really well. But kind of giving you like the synopsis of both in case you're new to the channel. I want to tell you what Katsu is meant for, right? If you're new to the channel, this is really important. If you're not new to the channel, you've heard me say this before, but I want to reiterate it. Katsu, you do not, at the end of the day, you play whatever hero you want, right? Whatever hero you enjoy. But if you're talking about sheerly strength and weaknesses perspective, Katsu is meant to play as a breakpoint hero. It is meant to present your opponent with odd attacks like Double Strike, Soul Beat Strike for 4, Torn of Tempo for 5, Surging Strike for 5, Whelming Gust Wave off combo for 4, go again. You know, your second 100 wins for 4, go again. Leg tap for 4. A lot of breakpoint attacks. It's meant to give your opponent a lot of really tough decisions and force them to make a mistake based off the oddity and the kind of unpredictability of your lines and like how you're going to play it out and what they're going to, you know, have to block. And eventually they make a mistake and then you capitalize off of it and really push damage. That is the purpose of Katsu. That is, I mean, at least without me talking to LSS directly, in my mind, that is the purpose of Katsu. That's why he has a combo as his text on his hero. He is meant to present the opponent with weird breakpoints. If you're looking for sheer damage, again, play who you want, but from a competitive perspective, if you're looking for sheer damage, go play Fi. That is the purpose of Fi. Fi is I'm going to burn you down. I'm going to get you to 0 faster than you can get me to 0. I don't care. I'm not about trying to do like weird attacks. I'm just going to hit you with a ton of raw damage, right? That is not Katsu, and I would not suggest playing Katsu that way. So with that thought, my surging list really tries to embody that, right? We have a lot of odd breakpoint attacks, and we have a lot of odd attacks just in general that present the opponent with a hard decision. Double Strike is a good example, right? It comes only in for 1. However, if you play Double Strike at the very start of your chain, you're basically saying, if you do not block this 1 power attack, I can go trigger and go get a combo card, and you don't even know what that line's going to be yet, right? I can be presenting a Double Strike, and you don't know that. Do I have a Surging Strike in my hand? Is he going to go get Whelming Gust Wave? Does he have Leg Tap in his hand? Is he going to get Rising Knee Thrust? Does he have no other starters in his hand? Is he just going to go get a Fluster Fist for 4 to play at the end of the chain, or 100 wins for 3? You know, like, you're presenting that opponent with a really weird decision, and more times than not, they'll just take the damage if they don't have enough information to go off of. So it's really good for that. Then you have attacks like Leg Tap and Surging Strike, which basically say like, I'm going to take 2 cards from hand unless you have a really good D-React in order to stop me from going to get a more powerful card. And then finally you have like cards that aren't inherent starters, but they do have conditional go again if they hit, like Soul Bleed Strike or Torrent Tempo, which basically force opponent interaction. You're basically saying, you know, maybe you've played out 100 wins and another 100 wins, and then you play out a Soul Bleed Strike, and you're like, okay, if you do not block this attack, I'm going to get go again, and I'm a trigger mask, right? Or just in general, maybe off a 2-card hand, right? Like late game, let's say you have you know, like a blue and a Soul Beat Strike. You pitch 2 Kadachis and play Soul Beat Strike, and you say, I'm going to trigger mask unless you stop this and don't give me go again, right? There's just different things you can do. And when you add in cards like Razor Reflex and Ancestral Empowerment into the list, it gets even more powerful, being able to like give some unpredictability to your opponent on how much power actually is coming in, right? So that's what we're looking for in the Surging list. Whereas the Kitty Katsu list is more, well, first, it's like the strength of the Surging list is you're presenting higher damage turn over turn. The Kitty Katsu list has a higher ceiling as far as like a combo turn, but as far as damage turn to turn, Surging list is better. Another reason is you present more breakpoints. You present more odd attacks that force more interaction from your opponent than a Kitty Katsu list would have. The weaknesses of a Surging list is a lot of people know a lot of these lines. Experienced players know what to block and what not to block. Not every time, but a lot of times they will. Like for the Surging line, for example, you always block Whelming. If they lead with a Surging Strike, you let Surging Strike hit, go get Whelming, and then block out Whelming, like block it for 6 to avoid Ancestral Empowerment and Breaking Skills, and then call it a day. Because if you block Surging and they have Whelming in hand, you're pretty much screwed, right? That's the way you have to look at it. So little stuff like that is kind of like the way, you know, that can be a weakness for the deck. When you have Kitty Katsu, this deck has lower power level, not a ton, but lower power level overall turn to turn. But when you get that sweet Tunic, Art of War, Roar of the Tiger, Pred Streak turn, it just can go off, right? And so this is more combo oriented. I'm not saying like that's the only way you can win, but that is a big win condition, is those combo turns with Art of War, especially with Roar of the Tiger. At the very least, playing Art of War off Tunic with a Roar of the Tiger in hand, playing Roar of the Tiger, discarding play Roar of the Tiger first, get a Crouching Tiger, play Art of War off Tunic, discard your Crouching Tiger to draw 2, and then basically, you know, you have a 5-card hand, especially if Art of War is played from Arsenal. You have a 5-card hand with, you know, and you can go crazy. That's what the purpose of this. There's not as many breakpoints in this. There's no Surging Strike. You still have the Leg Tap line, but you don't have like Torrent Tempo. You don't have other breakpoint stuff like Hurricane Technique or McGinty in late chain combo turns that really force a lot of interaction from your opponent. But you do have that combo turn, you know, that is more important for like just finishing out games. It has had success already in week 1 of the ProQuest, so it's definitely really good. And I think the strength of this deck is that combo turn. And a lot of people, some people have had more experience with it as time's gone on since the newest set release. But overall, people don't know this deck quite as much as they do the Surging line. So that's kind of your strength. And your strength is your ceiling turn is better than the Surging ceiling turn, unless they have an insane whelming Lord of Wind turn like late game and get a lot of targets and stuff like that. So like, why, other than what you prefer, like stylistic choice, why would you play either of these lists? So I think, or when would you play either of these lists? I think you play the Surging list in a meta where you have heroes that are more value-based that can block you out more efficiently. So heroes like Dory, Bravo, even Arachne when they get better, even though Arachne is kind of an easier matchup for Katsu. Arachne, Oldheim is better. It is not as bad. Oldheim's actually, it's better to use the Kitty Katsu list, but so won't include Oldheim. But Dory, Bravo, even Azalea, this is better into because it presents more breakpoints, things of that nature. Just better against heroes that are trying to outvalue you turn over turn, or like can block you out more efficiently. This deck makes it harder for them to do that. Whereas the Kitty Katsu list is better into a more aggro-based meta. So if you have a lot of Briar, a lot of Fi, a lot of heroes that struggle blocking out going wide or blocking out one big attack, like a Tiger Swipe, then this would be really good. I do think with the Kitty Katsu list, like I have Mask of the Pouncing Lynx on the sideboard for Oldheim specifically and Icelander. But other than that, this deck kind of, in my opinion, as a Katsu player, needs Mask of Momentum. Because on those Tiger Swipe turns, like I just mentioned, for example, if I have let's just say I have Art of War and Arsenal, and then you have Pred Streak, Roar the Tiger, let's just say Leg Tap, right? And then you have a blue. So you play Roar the Tiger, get one Crouching Tiger, you play out Pred Streak, so you have 2 cards left in hand, but then you get 3 Crouching Tigers, so now you have 4. Well, you have 3 cards in hand with 3 Crouching Tigers and banish, with one of your cards being Crouching Tiger. You play Art of War off Tunic, banish that Crouching Tiger, go get, then get 2 attacks. So now you have a blue, a Leg Tap, and 2 random attacks. Let's just say it's 100 wins and a Soul Beat Strike. What you want to do on that turn is you want to play out 2 Tigers to go get your Tiger Swipe, and then they'll usually let it hit because they want to block out Tiger Swipe. You discard your Soul Beat Strike, go get a Tiger Swipe. So you play out 2, and then what you do is you play Leg Tap with your blue. And you basically say, are you going to let me hit with Mask here? If you are, then you are. But basically you're saying like, you're telling your opponent, you're either going to let me hit with Mask or you're going to go block out Tiger Swipe later on the turn. Let's say they block out Leg Tap with a piece of equipment and a card. Then you use your last 2 resources on your blue to play 2 Kadachis. Then you play 100 wins for 4. And now you're saying, okay, again, are you going to let Mask hit? Or are you going to block out Tiger Swipe? So at that point, they're probably going to let Mask hit because they need to block that swipe next turn. But let's just say, for argument's sake, they block out 100 wins again. So now they pretty much dump their whole hand. Then you're going to play that last Crouching Tiger you have and banish, and then play Tiger Swipe out, right? And then Tiger Swipe comes in, for 5 with breaking skills, making it 6 if you need to. And basically they let that hit. You get 3 Crouching Tigers. Then you play that out and probably get a match trigger anyway. So you can kind of see how Mask of Momentum forces more interaction. Whereas on Pouncing Lynx, like, yes, you can go get another Tiger Swipe, but you force honestly less interaction with your opponent when you do Pouncing Lynx, in my opinion. So I like playing this against aggro decks that have a lot of 2 blocks that can't block me out as effectively. But anyone that's trying to outvalue you and kind of play for their power turn, like a Bolton, a Dory, a Bravo, things of that nature, then the Surging Lion is definitely better for that. That's as simple as I'll go, or as complex as I'll go, because if I go any more in depth, it's going to start getting muddied. But that at a base level, that's why you would run each deck. I think both are viable. I personally, if I had to pick, not knowing meta, I would pick the Surging Katsu line because I think it's more consistent than Kitty Katsu. Kitty Katsu can struggle with consistency issues. I mean, because you run more cards that are not attacks. In a typical Kitty Katsu list, you're running 3, 6, 9, 12. You're running 12 cards minimum and Ancestral Empowerment. So 15. So 3, 6, 9, 12. 15 cards that are not attacks, and you're running usually 9 to 12 blues. I run 15 to help deal with Icelander, but some people run 9 to 12. So counting your blues, if you, let's just say you run 12 blues and 15 cards that are not attacks, you're literally running 27 cards in your deck that are not an attack. So over half your deck. So you're prone to bricking if you draw like 2 blues and a Roar and an Ancestral Empowerment, and you're like, well, what do I do here, right? So that can happen, but when you draw the nuts turn, and it's crazy. So hopefully this makes sense and checks out for y'all. I just kind of want to give you my thoughts on like both lists together. I think both are viable. Like I said, Tiger Katsu's already won a PQ this past weekend, so it's doing well. It's got to keep it up. Personally, I'll probably, knowing me, I don't actually know which Katsu I'm going to run this weekend if I run one. I'm going to try to do one PQ with Azalea and one with Katsu and kind of go from there. And we'll see how we do. But I'm still deciding on which Katsu I run here. But yeah, if you like this content, like I said, leave a like, comment, subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go to another amazing Flesh and Blood career. Leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people seeing this game. If you want to know these decks, go back and check out my deck techs on them. I don't want to link these specific decks because they are my personal one, but I have deck techs on my channel. Go check those out. Let me know what you think. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.